Imagine this. You wake up just before sunrise. The house is quiet, the air cool, and the only sound is the distant hum of a refrigerator. You sit up, swing your legs off the bed, and hesitate. You're not sure if your legs will hold you. Not because they hurt, though they might, but because they feel foreign. Weak. Unreliable. Like they've stopped listening to you. That feeling? It's more than age. It's your body asking for help. And most of the time it's whispering through nutrition. Yes, not through prescriptions or procedures, but through simple foods your body has quietly been craving for years. We don't talk about it often, but for millions of older adults, mornings are no longer peaceful. They are filled with uncertainty. Will I cramp up again like last night? Will I slip trying to reach the bathroom? Can I trust my own body today? Frank knows that feeling. He's 76, lives alone in a small adobe-style home in Arizona, used to walk his dog every morning. But after a fall last year, just 2 steps down from his porch, he hasn't left his front gate without help. Not because he's in pain, but because his legs simply don't feel like they're his anymore. He told us something that stuck with me. I still want to move, but I feel like my legs hesitate, and that scares me more than pain ever did. If you've ever felt your legs tremble after standing too long in the kitchen, if you've ever turned down an invitation just because you didn't trust the walk from the car to the door, this video is for you. Because what if I told you, your legs don't need to feel this way? And what's more surprising, you might not need any medication to change it. You might just need 7 nutrients, 7 vitamins and minerals that your body once had in plenty, but now, after decades of use, have quietly run low. And when these levels drop, your balance falters, your reflexes slow, your muscles cramp. But the good news is, each of these nutrients can be replenished, naturally, gently, and effectively. So today, we're not selling you a pill or a miracle device. We're bringing you something better. Understanding of what your body is trying to tell you, and of how simple foods and a few small changes can bring strength back to the very foundation of your independence, your legs. Because the truth is, you deserve to wake up feeling steady. You deserve to walk from your bedroom to the kitchen without gripping the wall. You deserve to enjoy each day without wondering if your body will betray you again. And believe it or not, that new feeling of strength? It starts with breakfast. Let's dive into the first vitamin your legs are quietly begging you for. Vitamin D. Number 1, vitamin D, the sunlight your muscles are missing. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you let the morning sun touch your skin? Not through a window, not filtered by glass, but real direct sunlight, warming your arms, your face, your legs? For most older adults, the answer is, I don't remember. Not because they don't want to, but because pain makes it hard to go outside. Or because they're told the sun is dangerous, so they stay indoors, not realizing they're missing the one thing their legs need most: vitamin D. You see, vitamin D isn't just about bones or calcium. It's about function. It helps your muscles move. It helps you balance. It helps you catch yourself if you trip. And when you don't have enough, your legs begin to feel hesitant, shaky, heavy. Frank, who we met earlier, used to think he was just getting old, that the stiffness in his thighs, the way he had to push with his hands to get up from a chair, was all part of aging. But a simple blood test showed something else. His vitamin D was low, dangerously low. That's not rare. In fact, over 60% of seniors in the US are deficient in vitamin D. Why? Because as we get older, our skin produces less of it. Because we spend less time outdoors. And because even when we do go out, we cover our skin or wear sunscreen, which blocks vitamin D production entirely. The result? Muscles that can't respond quickly, a body that loses balance without warning, and a much higher risk of falling, even when you think you're being careful. One powerful study published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found that seniors with healthy vitamin D levels had stronger muscles, better coordination, and fewer falls. Not just by a little. The difference was night and day. Here's what most people don't realize. Vitamin D actually helps maintain fast-twitch muscle fibers, the ones responsible for quick reactions, like catching yourself when you step on something uneven, or correcting your balance when your foot slips. Without enough of it, these fibers fade. You react more slowly, and something as small as a loose rug or a sudden turn can send you to the floor. But here's the good news. This is fixable. Not with pills, unless you need them, but with something far more natural. For Linda, the change was as simple as stepping outside for 15 minutes each morning. She also started eating more salmon, eggs, and mushrooms. Her doctor recommended 800 IU of vitamin D daily, just to be safe. After just 6 weeks, she told us, "My legs used to feel like sandbags. Now I walk without thinking about it. I even take the stairs again." Vitamin D isn't magic, but it's essential. It helps reduce inflammation in your muscles. It helps your body absorb calcium and magnesium, both crucial for strong, pain-free legs. And most importantly, it gives you back a sense of control over how you move. Because that's what this is really about, isn't it? Not just avoiding pain, but knowing your body will respond when you ask it to. Knowing you can stand up without worrying if your legs will freeze. Knowing you can enjoy a simple walk without fear. So if your mornings start with stiffness or hesitation, start with vitamin D. Open the window. Step outside. Let the sunlight return to your muscles, one warm breath at a time. Now that your muscles are starting to listen again, it's time to give them the support they need to stay strong and stable. In the next part, we'll uncover a mineral that protects your legs from the inside out, and without it, even the strongest muscles can fail. Let's talk about calcium. Number 2. Calcium, the hidden armor beneath your skin. There's a quiet kind of fear that lives in many seniors' hearts. It's not the fear of pain, it's the fear of what happens after the fall. Because here's the truth. A single fall can break more than just bones. It can break confidence. It can take away independence. And the reason so many of those falls lead to serious injury is calcium deficiency. We often think of calcium as milk for kids, right? But after 60, your bones don't rebuild the way they used to. They lose density. They become brittle. And without enough calcium, the framework holding up your body, especially your legs, starts to weaken. Uncle Ray didn't know that. At 83, he still thought he was strong. He walked a little slower these days, but he still made it down the hallway each morning to brew his coffee. Until one day, he tripped over the edge of a rug in the hallway. A simple stumble. He fell sideways and heard a snap. His hip was broken, not because the fall was hard, but because his bones were soft. Doctors told him something shocking. "Ray, your bones aren't breaking because of the fall. They're falling apart because they haven't been fed properly in years." What they meant was, he wasn't getting enough calcium. And even worse, his body couldn't use the little he was getting because he wasn't pairing it with vitamin D and movement. Here's what most people don't realize. Calcium isn't just about bones. It also powers muscle contractions. Every step you take, every time you rise from a chair, your muscles depend on calcium to trigger that movement. Without enough, your legs may feel weak, sluggish, or cramp suddenly, especially at night. So how do we fix this? Let's start with food. Yes, no prescriptions needed. Dairy is a great source, sure. Milk, yogurt, cheese. But so are leafy greens like kale and bok choy, almonds, sardines, and fortified plant-based milks like soy or oat. The secret is variety. Different sources make absorption easier. And remember, vitamin D helps your body absorb calcium, so the two go hand in hand. For many seniors, especially those with digestive issues or dietary limits, supplements may be necessary. Doctors usually recommend 1,000 to 1,200 milligrams per day for older adults. But here's something critical. More is not better. Too much calcium, especially from pills, can cause problems. Kidney stones, constipation, and even calcium buildup in arteries, which can lead to heart issues. That's why food first is always safest. And movement? It's the magic ingredient. Weight-bearing exercises like walking or gentle stair climbing help calcium go where it's needed, into your bones. Without movement, even with perfect nutrition, your bones stay passive. They don't remodel, they don't strengthen. So when Uncle Ray began recovery, his doctor gave him 3 instructions. Eat your greens, take your calcium with vitamin D, and walk every day, even if it's just around the house. 3 months later, he was not only back on his feet, he was going outside again. Not just surviving, living. Because strong legs start with strong bones, and strong bones start with feeding your frame, not just your muscles. So if you've been feeling like your legs tire easily, if you've noticed more stiffness when climbing stairs, or if you've had a fall, or fear one is coming, check your calcium, check your movement, and give your body the structure it needs to keep standing tall. Next up, we'll explore something even more surprising, a vitamin that has nothing to do with muscles or bones, but everything to do with how your brain tells your legs what to do. Let's talk about vitamin B12s and why it might be the missing signal your legs are waiting for. Number 3. Vitamin B12, when your legs stop listening to your brain. What if your legs weren't weak, just disconnected? What if the real problem wasn't in your muscles or bones, but in the messages trying to reach them? That's the silent crisis of vitamin B12 deficiency. Because this isn't a vitamin about strength, it's about communication. It's how your brain speaks to your body. And when you don't get enough of it, that conversation gets cut off. Martha, 69, used to love dancing. Not in a formal way, just swaying to the oldies while cooking or humming as she walked through the garden. But over the past year, she noticed something strange. Her legs started to feel heavy. Not painful, just slow. Then came the tingling. And finally, she noticed that sometimes when she told her foot to lift, it didn't. Not right away. It was like there was a delay. She thought it was arthritis, or maybe just getting older. But a neurologist told her something else. You're not losing control of your legs. You're just not feeding your nerves. That's where vitamin B12 comes in. This essential nutrient protects the myelin sheath, a kind of insulation that surrounds your nerves. Without B12, that insulation starts to break down. Messages from your brain get fuzzy, slower, unreliable, and that's when falls happen. Not because your legs are broken, but because the signal to move them got lost on the way. Here's the challenge. Vitamin B12 is very hard to absorb, especially after 60. Why? Because your stomach needs something called intrinsic factor to extract it from food. And with age, many people stop producing enough of it. Even worse, common medications like those for acid reflux can block B12 absorption completely. So even if you're eating meat or eggs or dairy, like you always have, you still might not be getting what you need. For Martha, her doctor found her B12 levels were critically low. They started her on a simple B12 supplement, just a small lozenge under the tongue each day. No prescription, no injections. Within 4 weeks, something shifted. It wasn't dramatic, she told us. But one morning, I got out of bed and my legs just responded. I didn't have to think about it. I didn't feel unsure. That's what B12 gives you back. Not just control, confidence. The quiet confidence of knowing your body will do what you ask it to, of walking across a room without planning every step in advance, of trusting your reflexes again. So where do you find B12? It's found almost exclusively in animal products. Lean meats, fish, eggs, milk, and especially clams and liver. For those on a plant-based diet, fortified cereals and plant milks may help. But for many seniors, a supplement is the simplest and safest solution. And here's the good news. B12 is water-soluble. That means your body gets rid of the excess naturally, so it's very safe to supplement under medical guidance. But here's the key. Don't wait. Because once B12 deficiency goes too far, the nerve damage can become permanent. You might think the numbness in your feet is minor, or that tingling in your calves is just circulation. But these are early warnings, and the longer they're ignored, the harder they are to reverse. If you've ever felt like your legs are one step behind your mind, if you've stumbled even when you weren't tired, check your B12. It might be the simplest fix your nervous system has been begging for. And once the signals start flowing freely again, it's time to make sure your muscles know how to respond. Coming up next, a mineral that calms, strengthens, and restores balance to every movement, especially the ones that happen at night when no one's watching. Let's talk about magnesium. Number 4, magnesium. The midnight rescue your legs are waiting for. It always happens the same way. You're asleep, dreaming, maybe, and then snap. A sudden bolt of pain grabs your calf and doesn't let go. You sit up, clutch your leg, breathing hard. You're wide awake now, but not because of a nightmare, because your muscles just betrayed you. Sound familiar? That's the invisible toll of magnesium deficiency, a silent imbalance that turns peaceful nights into painful memories. Harold, 74, knew that feeling all too well. For months, he would wake up 2 to 3 times a night, curled over in pain. His wife used to rub his legs with warm towels. He tried hydration. He tried stretching. Nothing worked. It felt like my muscles had a mind of their own, he said. They'd just seize up without warning. And here's what he didn't know. He wasn't missing a medication. He was missing magnesium. This one mineral plays a role in over 300 biochemical reactions in the body. But for our legs, it has one job that matters most. It tells muscles when to contract. And more importantly, when to relax. Without enough magnesium, your muscles don't know how to let go. They stay tense. They spasm. They cramp, especially at night when you're resting. And yet, magnesium is one of the most commonly overlooked deficiencies in older adults. Why? Because magnesium gets depleted easily. By stress, by medications, by poor diet. Diuretics, blood pressure pills, acid blockers, all common in seniors, flush magnesium out of your system. And if you're not eating enough leafy greens, nuts, seeds, or whole grains, you're not replacing what's lost. Harold had no idea, but his doctor suggested trying something simple. A bedtime routine of warm almond milk, a handful of pumpkin seeds, and a low-dose magnesium glycinate supplement. It wasn't a miracle, not overnight, but by the 3rd week, something changed. I slept through the night, Harold said, and I woke up rested, with no fear of that pain hitting me out of nowhere. Magnesium doesn't just prevent cramps. It also helps with balance, muscle coordination, and even bone health, because it supports calcium absorption, guiding it to the right places. Without magnesium, calcium can deposit in the wrong places, your joints, your arteries. That's when stiffness sets in. That's when walking feels more like dragging. But when magnesium is restored, the whole body softens. Your gait feels smoother, your movements more fluid, your sleep deeper. And for people like Harold who hadn't slept a full night in months, that was life-changing. Here's how to boost your magnesium naturally. Eat more spinach, black beans, avocados, almonds, and pumpkin seeds. Enjoy a banana with peanut butter in the evening, or sip on warm oat milk before bed. And if needed, consider a supplement. Magnesium glycinate or magnesium citrate are gentle on the stomach and absorb well. But most importantly, listen to your legs. If they're cramping, twitching, or feeling tense for no reason, that's your body asking for balance, not from medication, but from a missing nutrient. When your muscles are finally calm, when you can sleep without fear of pain, you wake up with a new kind of energy, a steadier kind of strength. And once your nights are peaceful again, it's time to focus on the strength you'll need during the day. Next up, we explore a powerful mineral that keeps your steps fluid, your reflexes sharp, and your heart and muscles working in harmony. Let's talk about potassium. Number 5, potassium, the spark that keeps you steady. Tom loved his garden. Every morning, just after sunrise, he'd step outside with a cup of coffee and check on his tomatoes, his roses, his little patch of green beans. But lately, something had changed. It wasn't pain. It wasn't fatigue. It was a strange, trembling feeling in his legs when he stood too long. He would crouch to pull a weed, and when he stood back up, his knees would shake. His calves felt tight. Some mornings, he even got cramps just walking back into the house. "It's like my legs forget how to hold me," he said. That's when his daughter, a nurse, suggested something simple. "Dad, have you checked your potassium levels?" Because potassium isn't just about bananas. It's about balance, coordination, and the quiet electrical signals that flow from your brain to your legs every second of the day. Every muscle contraction you make, every step, every shift in posture relies on potassium. It helps regulate the fluid balance inside your cells, keeps your nerves firing smoothly, and prevents those sudden stabbing leg cramps that can hit without warning. When potassium drops too low, even slightly, your muscles begin to misfire. That's when cramps appear. That's when your legs shake. That's when lifting your feet starts to feel harder than it should. And the scariest part? Low potassium is more common in older adults than most people realize. especially those taking diuretics for high blood pressure or heart conditions. These medications flush potassium from the body every single day. But few doctors stop to ask if the trembling, the cramping, the weakness could be from a simple mineral deficiency. Tom was surprised. He thought he ate well, but when he looked closer, he realized he hadn't had a banana in weeks. His meals had gotten smaller, less variety, more frozen dinners, fewer fresh ingredients. So he started small. He added a baked potato with the skin to his dinner twice a week, a few slices of avocado on toast in the morning, some orange with lunch, a handful of beans in his salad. 3 weeks later, he was back in the garden, and this time when he stood up from the soil, his legs didn't shake. It wasn't about being strong, Tom said. It was about being steady, and that's something I had forgotten I could feel again. Potassium also plays another quiet role. It helps protect bone health by neutralizing acids that slowly break down your skeletal structure over time. So, not only do your muscles move better, your bones hold firmer too. If you've been dealing with leg cramps or if your legs feel shaky after just a few minutes of standing, don't assume it's age. Check your plate. You might just need more colorful foods. No prescriptions, just simple meals that bring your body back into rhythm. The daily potassium needs for older adults are around 2,600 milligrams for women and 3,400 milligrams for men. And most of that can come from food, if you know where to look. Sweet potatoes, spinach, lentils, citrus, bananas, tomatoes. All of these can restore the natural electrical balance that keeps you standing tall. And when that balance returns, when your legs no longer feel like strangers, you can finally trust each step again. Coming up next, we'll meet Diane and discover how a forgotten vitamin in green vegetables helped her bend her knees without pain for the first time in years. Let's talk about vitamin K and why it may be the key to flexibility and freedom in your joints. Number 6. Vitamin K, the silent guide that keeps your joints moving. There was a time when Diane could kneel down in her garden and tie her granddaughter's shoelaces without thinking twice. But over the past year, something changed. Not just pain, but stiffness. Deep in her knees, a feeling like rust had built up in her joints overnight. She found herself avoiding stairs, avoiding low chairs, and most of all, avoiding moments like that with her granddaughter. Because she couldn't trust her knees to bend without a sharp, unforgiving pull. I felt locked, Diane said. Like my legs weren't mine anymore. She had tried glucosamine, even over-the-counter pain relievers. But the real change came when her doctor asked her a simple question. How often are you eating dark leafy greens? Because while most people think of calcium and vitamin D for bones, they forget one of the most crucial vitamins for mobility. Vitamin K. Here's what makes it so important. Vitamin K is like the traffic cop for calcium. It tells calcium where to go, into your bones, where it belongs, and away from your arteries and joints, where it causes stiffness, inflammation, and pain. Without enough vitamin K, calcium can end up deposited in all the wrong places. That's when joints lose flexibility. That's when arteries harden. And that's when movements like bending your knee become a daily struggle. Diane had never been a fan of vegetables, but she gave it a try. A handful of kale in her morning smoothie, a side of sautéed spinach with lunch, some Brussels sprouts roasted with dinner. 2 weeks later, she noticed something small. She could sit down into her armchair without bracing herself on both sides. By the end of the month, she was kneeling in the garden again, planting tulip bulbs for spring. It was like oiling a door hinge, she said. One day, the creaking just stopped. Vitamin K works by activating a protein called osteocalcin, which helps bind calcium into the bone matrix, making bones stronger and more resistant to fractures. At the same time, it prevents calcium from getting stuck in soft tissues like cartilage, where it causes joint pain and immobility. And there's more than one type of vitamin K. K1 is found in leafy greens, spinach, kale, collard greens, Swiss chard. K2, which stays active in the body longer, is found in fermented foods like natto, aged cheeses, and animal products like egg yolks and liver. Diane's routine now includes both: a green smoothie in the morning and a slice of sourdough toast with a little aged cheddar in the evening. She doesn't count milligrams, she just listens to her knees. and they've been responding beautifully. If your joints feel stiff, if you feel locked when getting out of a chair, or if your knees ache after sitting too long, vitamin K might be the key you didn't know was missing. No prescription needed, just real food, greens, ferments, small additions that lead to big changes. When Diane walks now, her steps are softer, her movements more fluid, and that shoelace moment with her granddaughter, she got it back. Next, we'll talk about one more vitamin that could quietly be holding you back, not because of your muscles or joints, but because your energy fades too fast, because your legs feel heavy even after just a few steps. Let's talk about vitamin B6 and how it may be the missing link between your blood, your nerves, and your strength. Number 7. Vitamin B6, when your legs feel like they've run out of fuel. Eleanor had always been a slow walker, but this was different. She'd get up from the couch, walk to the kitchen, just a few steps, and feel completely drained, as if her legs had used up all their strength just getting her across the room. No pain, no dizziness, just a strange, heavy fatigue that settled into her thighs like wet sandbags. It felt like my legs had run out of battery, she said. And the worst part was, I hadn't even done anything. Her doctor ran a few tests. Everything seemed normal. Blood pressure, heart, circulation, all checked out. But one thing was low, quietly low, easily missed by most: vitamin B6. This humble nutrient often gets overlooked, but without enough of it, your body starts to break the chain that keeps your muscles working with energy and precision. Here's why. Vitamin B6 is essential for nerve health, supports muscle repair, and helps your body produce hemoglobin, the protein in red blood cells that carries oxygen to your tissues. So when B6 is missing, your muscles don't get enough oxygen, and without oxygen, they tire faster than they should. Even the smallest effort becomes exhausting. That was Eleanor's reality, and she started to believe it was just aging, until her daughter insisted on a second opinion. And this time, the doctor asked the right question. "What are you eating for breakfast?" Because Eleanor's routine was simple: a slice of toast, maybe some jam, no eggs, no protein, no B6. She began making small changes, adding scrambled eggs with spinach, swapping jam for chickpea spread on toast, sometimes even eating bananas with peanut butter in the afternoon. And when needed, her doctor added a small B6 supplement, just 1.5 milligrams a day. After 2 weeks, the heaviness in her legs began to lift. After 1 month, she could walk to the end of her street and back without stopping. And one morning, she surprised herself. She walked upstairs without holding the railing. "It wasn't that I felt younger," Eleanor said. "I just finally felt like I had energy again." Vitamin B6 also plays another critical role. It helps regulate inflammation in muscles and joints. If your legs feel stiff after light activity, if recovery takes longer than it should, B6 may be what your body is quietly missing. Here's where to find it naturally. Poultry, like chicken and turkey. Fish, such as salmon or tuna. Bananas, potatoes, fortified cereals, and chickpeas. You don't need a drastic diet. You just need intentional meals, real foods that give your body the fuel it needs to stay in motion. And if you've been feeling like your legs are out of battery, if short walks leave you out of breath, or you feel like your energy drains faster than it should, don't assume it's your age. Check your B6, because sometimes all your legs need is to breathe again, to feel fed, to feel trusted. Now, you've heard the science, you've met the people. You've seen how real food can bring back control, confidence, and connection with your own body. But the truth of it all? The biggest change isn't in your legs. It's in the way you feel about yourself. And that's what we'll talk about next. In our final chapter, how all these small changes come together to create not just stronger steps, but a stronger life. No one teaches you what it feels like to lose trust in your own body. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens slowly, quietly. One morning, you hesitate before stepping out of bed. One afternoon, you sit down to put on your shoes and realize it's harder than yesterday. And then one night, a cramp wakes you up. You hold your leg, heart racing, whispering to yourself, "Not again." But what if those moments didn't have to become your new normal? What if your body has been trying to speak to you this whole time, and all it needed was for you to listen? Because here's the truth. Every story you heard today, Frank, Linda, Uncle Ray, Martha, Harold, Tom, Diane, Eleanor. They're not exceptions. They're not lucky. They just gave their bodies the right kind of help. No prescriptions, no complicated routines, just nutrients that were missing, quietly stealing their strength day by day. And once they began to put those nutrients back in, a little sunlight, a handful of greens, a warm cup of magnesium-rich milk at bedtime, their legs remembered. They remembered how to move, how to support, how to feel like part of them again. So maybe this isn't just about vitamins. Maybe this is about something deeper, about reclaiming a part of yourself you thought was gone. Because when your legs feel steady, you feel safe. When you can walk without fear, you feel free. And when you trust your body again, you open the door to life again. If this message touched something inside you, I invite you to let your voice be part of this healing space. Drop a comment below. Type 1 if you've ever woken up in the middle of the night because of a muscle cramp. Type 2 if you've ever felt anxious walking alone in your own home. Type 3 if you've ever thought, maybe it's just age. And now you're starting to realize, maybe it's not. Your story might be the one that helps someone else take the first step. So let's keep this conversation going, because no one should have to walk through this alone. And if this video helped you, give it a like. It helps us reach others who need it. Share it with a friend, a parent, or someone you care about. You never know who's lying awake at night, waiting for the pain to stop. Stay steady, stay hopeful, and we'll see you in the next video.